So Chesterfield County has always been a county that attacks minorities. This has been the history of it for, well, like ever. You can look at the illegal, highly illegal closure of the town of Benzing, or the village of Benzing. It was highly illegal because the people did not get to vote on such. In Virginia, towns and villages are the same under the law, and the law requires a vote to dissolve a town or a village. It's just that simple. This happened back in the early 1990s. You can go on to Chesterfield County election page and see different elections for the town of Bensley. Bensley. Up until the early 90s. When the Board of Supervisors decided to take away the people's right to vote. A highly offensive and very un-American action. And there's been repeated problems. But going to Chesterfield County Police, the problems are pretty severe these days and pretty grotesque. We've had multiple incidents of African Americans attacked by Chesterfield County Police. We had an incident of somebody stopped in their own property, made it to their door, and the officer illegally went on to the property. Yeah, kind of highly unprofessional and highly disgusting. That was a few years ago, soon after Chief Katz took over, who's been pretty ugly and grotesque. We've had a person stopped taking photos onto the Defense Center. First of all, that's 100% illegal. People take photos on the Defense Center all the time. I grew up on that Defense Center. That was a very personal attack for those of us that grew up there. I grew up being able to ride my bike onto the Defense Center before 9/11 off of the Drew's Bluff gate. I've been inside the house that's technically two houses glued together. My dad was a major at the Defense Center that's now part of the Reserve Center that's now part of the Defense Center. That's a very personal military place. So, unless I probably do have photos somewhere of it, I have no idea where, or if I actually do. But yeah, I have a camera on my car. I know I have video from that of just about every place. It's just simple. You can't stop somebody for taking a photo of a Defense Center, most definitely when they're off the Defense Center. There is zero military law enforcement, even an inch off of the Defense Center, as they do not have any leeway when it comes to off the Defense Center, because they're contracted through the Department of Justice. By the way, the individual in charge in D.C. has even told me that. So, of this group that actually has this contract. On top of all of this, last year, July 4th, coming up about right around July 4th, I lived in Ettrick, had a dozen flags outside. 2 of them were caught on fire and taken to Chesterfield Avenue. I knew that the chances of finding the individual that did that was hard, but I still wanted to report it. First officer noticed what the car was and noticed that the car said the flags were in the middle of the road, slowed down, and did not run over them. second officer is speeding so fast he literally runs over flags that have already been burned. Me personally, if we actually did catch the people, I would have just talked to them. But yeah, I didn't want the flags actually run over and disgraced it even again. The day after George Floyd, but hold on to that, because before that even, Chief Katz, when he first takes over, decides he's going to put Sergeant Nicky Otero, who he knew, because I had actually emailed him, had joked about Sarah. EMT Benzie Bermuda Rescue Squad, Sarah's death. Literally joked. She has a tendency of having an uncontrolled laugh. Well, not joke, but laughed. She has an uncontrollable laugh, evidently. Well, that's what I'm hoping is true. Now, I'm not 100% sure on that. But he takes her and he puts her in what office? Oh, Office of Professional Standards. That's the professional standards he looks for. It's pretty disgusting and grotesque. But let's flash back into the day of the day after the first major protest with George Floyd. Same officer who ran over the American flag stops me. The same damn officer. Unless I just said he stopped me for a very, very minor issue. Then I called to complain, and I get to Sergeant Gunn or whoever, or whatever his last name is. And I'm driving down because on top of all this, I go to where Sarah died as much as possible right after we have another incident in our nation of a first responder not being able to drive and killing another one. We had 2 in the 10 days prior to that incident. 2 incidents. So I was going to literally think at where Sarah died. Notice there's 2 officers, and I asked this sergeant, who I'm on the phone complaining because the same daggone officer I had complained before actually was able to stop me. No proper response. I mean, if I'm the same officer, I'm not getting out of my car until another officer comes by. That's proper. That's respectful. Another officer should be there present. 100%. That should be a big policy. That should be a basic common sense policy. But this sergeant, not only the 2 other officers, they're trying to stop people speeding and whatnot. Fine, no real problem. They shouldn't be doing it to minorities unjustly, but okay. Not saying they will, but that's just that. I daggone asked the sergeant to ask them to move because I do not want to ask them myself. The daggone sergeant has the nerve to say no. The most disgraceful thing in the world. But this is Chief Katz for us. He is the most disgraceful. And people, everything he does, it seems to be something to be disgraceful about, without a care in the world. I don't like him because he does all this. Not only that, you email him and you don't like, and you make it clear you don't like what he's doing, he's not going to email you back. He's too much of a coward to have that type of discussions. I don't like him because he's not safe for our county, for the county I grew up in. I think he's a very dangerous individual for the county, because the minute you say or you act or you do something that is highly inoffensive, the minute you take somebody who does something that's unprofessional, whether or not it's on purpose or not, and you set her into the Office of Professional Standards, and she's still there, by the way. She hasn't been moved. The minute you do that, somebody laughs at somebody's dead, not just dead, but a fallen first responder. Well, not a fallen first responder, but a first responder who's killed by another first responder by the same driving the same vehicle she did hours before. The minute you say that that's okay to laugh at, it's nothing. The minute you take that individual and you put them in the office of professional standards, you're saying that it's okay to laugh at it, something so horrific, and that's a massive problem. Again, since he's taken office, there's been nothing but problems. Some of the issues have hit the local media, some of them have not. He poses a real threat to our community, to our county, and it's not okay. Whether or not they're for Black Lives Matter or anything like that, most people are for our United States flag and respecting it. Most people are for basic common sense. Most people are for respecting the dead. If somebody goes to sit and think when they need to, well, somebody had died, they should be more than able to do such without being a problem. If somebody needs to move when they're not in an active crime scene, that shouldn't be a problem. It's just, again, and yeah, the reason that Katz is a problem when it comes to all this is because he knows about it. 100% knows about it and doesn't do a single thing about it. Like I said, I've emailed him dozens of times. He can't communicate back. He has a problem with communicating. 100%, most definitely when he's not in control. He's the very definition of a sociopath. Can't control it, he wants the other direction. And that's a safety issue for our county. The county I grew up in and the county I love. The Board of Supervisors should be replacing him and learning to respect the very hardworking and at times life-saving minorities. Bensley did not deserve to be treated the way that it was. And by the way, most of Bensley will be 50-50 on if it separates or stays a town, or stays 100% on the county. It will be 33-33-33. It will be a very close vote. But as the point of the matter is, it was disrespectful. That area has sacrificed so much. Members of that community have sacrificed so much without a demand for payment for their actions. Members of Bensley Rescue Squad in the early days saved more than likely hundreds of well, maybe not hundreds, but thousands upon thousands of individuals. It probably could be that much. They at the early stages were the main rescue squad for South Richmond, North Chesterfield. They did a ton, and that community was 100% disrespected. And it's been disrespected even more. Older members are not as respected as the newer members. Incidents like me, it's no joke. And I'm 100% sure that the color of my skin played a role in my horrific life. I'm literally the only person in America that can sit there and say that they've seen a first responder killed by another one or had to deal with it. Thankfully, I did not see it, but I saw her 2-3 minutes before she died, and I'm never going to forget that face and seeing her. I was 4.5 when that happened. Only person that can say that they've seen that and have been tortured on American soil. Again, Katz knows all of this. He is 100% uncaring, cowardly, and likes it when people are in pain. He is 100% not for Chesterfield.